Let's welcome our host, Erica Wilson.
Great day, everyone. We're here live today with the girl, Erica Wilson, at It Had to Happen. Guys, for take 5 of NFL Moms and Families. Today, guys, we have a special guest. I don't know if I should address him as Bishop or Bro, so I'm going to call him Bishop Bro on today. Guys, we will have the Bishop Bro, Kenny Berry, in the building on today, as well as the beautiful First Lady, Melissa Berry, and the beautiful Sandra Perryman. Can we bring them all on? Welcome.
Hello.
All right, guys, we're going to be jumping into mental health. As we know, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So as I began to do some research, I looked up mental health, and here's what I got. Mental Health Awareness Month began in the United States in 1949 and was started by the Mental Health America organization. Mental disorders often start earlier than expected. About 34.6% of patients showed a disorder before the age of 14, 48.4% before the age of 18, and 62.5% before the age of 25. Wow. According to Robin Kewick, approximately 46.6 million people are living with mental illness in the U.S. That's 1 in 5 adults who will be living with a mental health condition at some point in their lives. Playing sports does not make athletes immune to mental health challenges. With pressures to perform in the game, as well as in the rest of their public lives, being an athlete can be incredibly challenging for a person's mental health. Student athletes have additional pressures to maintain their classwork and grades on top of practice and games. When athletes get hurt, they receive time to heal. But what do you think about when those injuries are invisible? Bishop, what do you think about that? Being though that you are an athlete, you're a former athlete, what do you think about that? When they say when athletes get hurt,
For the
they
most
receive
part, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Well, yes. All right. Well, yeah, as far as athletes, and a lot of times, they're really not diagnosed with any type of problems until, later on. Majority of the time, you're looking at from kids playing football from an early age, their brain have been jarred consistent.
I think we kind of lost him. So, guys, please do bear with us. We're talking about when athletes get hurt, they receive time to heal. But what do you think about when those injuries are invisible, Sissy, Sandra, until we get Bishop back? I'm mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
I said when athletes get hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need time to heal. But what do you think about when those injuries are invisible? Basically, like what we don't see, what we don't know.
It's kind of hard to address it if you don't know. If it's invisible, it's up to the person that's going through what they're going through to be comfortable enough to go and share with somebody what they're going through so that we can help them heal the process. And I think sometimes as not necessarily all athletes, but individuals, just when they're going through stuff, need to feel comfortable when talking to people about the situation, because what they're going through can very well turn out to help somebody else, another person that's not saying anything.
Yeah,
So
I agree. That's a good answer though, because like you said, if they're not willing to talk to anyone, is Bishop back? If they're not willing to talk to anyone,
I'm back. Had a call come in the midst there, so. As I stated, is that there are many different things and many other facts that play a part, with people, and as far as mental illness. There's a span of mental illness that actually a part of, generation of families that also, they are diagnosed early on because of issues and things of that nature there. Now, I know, from a spiritual side is that there's a time when, we've made ourselves open to different things that can actually cause trauma in our lives as well. It's something a lot of people don't talk about because they're understanding that we're spiritual beings, so therefore when we open ourselves up to different things, it can cause us to cause trauma, especially when we lose hope and faith that we don't have um, we don't even know God. I have no thought of God, and I've seen it, I've dealt with it. But it's it's an issue, but it doesn't have to be an issue.
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
and so but then again, like I said, I think it says that a lot of people don't want to address it. So a lot of people don't want to talk about it because it stays hidden a lot of time. I was looking at a show yesterday while at the dentist there, and this young man, he was very abusive, to his wife, and he said he just blank out at time and not knowing what he has done. He's find himself in countless altercations and things of the nature there. But then he began to, his childhood is that he never received the love, he never received the acceptance and appreciation from his childhood, and it carried over into his adulthood. And now on the flip side of that, they have a 2-year-old child, and because the 2-year-old child is now in that arena and in that in the spirit, the atmosphere, when things are actually stated around the house. I mean, Dr. Fear had to bleep it yesterday because this child repeated what he had heard. So a lot of the stuff it is actually trained, and we don't realize why a lot of times people have become dysfunctional because of their upbringing, because of what they're coming in contact with as from their adolescence, from infants to adolescency. I've taught the psychosocial development of our character, how we actually formulate, become ourselves. And so that in itself is another major issue of the problem.
Wow. Okay, so what I would say, Bishop, and as an athlete, right? As a former athlete, what are some of your ways that you look after your mental health?
Me personally, I was, even when I played ball, I was always a believer. I knew Christ early on in my life, and that was, who actually kept me. A lot of times, people will take when you have a situation where you just get angry for a moment, and because what something triggers you or something causes you to become upset, and if you don't learn how to deal with that in itself, they want to diagnose you as that you have a mental illness or that you have some type of condition. But everyone has, at some point in time, where they've been infused or inflamed, emotionally. But it's how you handle it, and that when that situation is over, it's not a constant. It's not a constant, thing that transpires in your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but as an athlete, I know, we're out there. We're aggressive. We're actually trained to be destructive. And I often say, football is a game where you can literally almost kill a man half to death and not go to jail for it. Because you can take, if you have any anger, if you have any, issues in your life, especially from a defensive side, you have an opportunity to take it out on the person on the other side of the ball. So you utilize that in itself as a mechanism to actually get rid of some of your issues, some of your anger.
Wow. Well, I mean that to be true. And then you think about the label. As soon as one act out, we like to label. Folks like to label people. So being those sissies, this question is for you both. What is it like for you as a mom? What do you do for your mental health, knowing that your son is out there doing what he loved to do, but possibly we spoke about injuries last time, right? So what do you do to take care of your mental health during a time when you see your son? Sometimes I don't even want to look, when I see the collision is about to happen. But what do you do to take care of your mental health? Sister Stan?
I try to stay calm and I just pray. I pray, before they enter the field, while they on the field, when they leave the field, and not just for him, just for everybody that's playing, and just try to keep a level head. Just try to keep a level head. But like you say, it is hard because you don't know what to expect.
What would you say about that, Sissy Melissa?
I agree 100% with Sister Sandra. I pray, and then pray some more. But before he actually steps on the field, I'm preparing myself mentally the day before.
Okay.
Just mentally preparing, and praying. Where that's preparation. The prayer is the preparation, and like Sister Sandra said, that I'm not only praying for him, but I'm praying for the teams, as a whole, that, they're protected, God keeps them safe, no serious injuries, so, it's always constant prayer, before, during, and even after, because, prayer, that's our lifestyle. So, we do it on a constant basis. So it's not something we, on Sundays say, oh, okay, well, we need to pray today. No, it's always, something we do.
Yeah, I totally agree because I sure enough had a good time this morning on prayer. I'll tell you that. At 5 o'clock in the mornings, and this morning God says, it's time for you to speak, daughter. You can't just sit and listen and just suck up the prayer. You got to give some prayer as well. So I need you to reverence me. So prayer on 5 o'clock in the morning at Grace Fellowship, be on fire, guys. Woo! I'll tell you, I've been a little out of it at first, but by the time they get ready to kick in, I heard that second wind come in. But we talk about okay, here it is. They athletes have these camps, right? And at these camps, everyone just come in and learn some drills. The athlete who's throwing the camp, they speak to the kids just a tad bit, right? So here it is. I went to searching through your page, Bishop, and I found this video that stood out to me, and I'm telling you, I loved it. So I want to go ahead and play it right now, and then we're going to go ahead and let you talk about what was that like, you talking to the kids. So not only just as a pro athlete in college, in little league, in high school, let's roll that clip.
Oh, what a great time. I'm Bishop Kenny Berry out of Christian at Belgrade here in Innisbrook for the Men of Valor Conference here, bringing youth from around this state here to actually encourage them, to impact them, to let them know that there's always, something bigger and better. Knowing that the game of football itself is an outlet for a lot of kids, but there's a bigger light, there's a bigger hope, there's a bigger desire, there's bigger things that are out there. But just using this as a platform to get them where they need to be at. The 2017 Men of Valor Conference was a blast. This year we instituted 7-on-7 and adventure combine, and I tell you, it was exciting. These young men, they poured their hearts out. Coaches, we applaud you for getting your kids here. Great speakers, a host of individuals that came in to pour into the lives of the men. Myself, my son, who played at the U along with Darryl Jones, was able to call in Melvin Bragner, former Hurricane, now NFL agent. Edgerrin James, future Hall of Famer, big time rusher in the NFL, champion winner in Miami. Rob Carter, one of my teammates, played me back in the 80s, 87 championship team. Those guys got an opportunity to call in to speak to those that was here at Innisbrook during this Total Touch Men of Valor Conference. Jonathan Mann, a late arrival, came in and poured out in the lives of these young men as well. But what a great and exciting time just to be here, to be able to impact the lives of young men. We know quite a few of them may not have fathers. We're here today. We're standing in as fathers to encourage them, to empower them, and let them know that they have greatness inside of them that the world is waiting to see.
So Bishop, seeing that video, right? You said in that video that it's an outlet for the kids. Can you speak more about that? What made you put that event on?
I tell you, we get the privileged opportunity, and we was taking 500 to 600 high school athletes, to Innisbrook, which is a nice resort, and it was 3 to 4 days of spiritual encouragement, but also an opportunity for them to showcase their talent and participate and compete against others. And a lot of times, we bring in ex-professionals. We brought in Vernon. Good God Almighty. We had quite a few individuals that comes up and actually speak and pour into the lives of these young men to let them know, in order to make to reach their success, to do better. We try to encourage them. We try to, direct them and give them some insight of what it's going to take to help keep them in that same path. I apologize. I had a grandson here, half asleep here.
It's okay. We just had a Bishop. We just had a comment come up from your nephew. If you can hear Sandra as well. Alan says, "Can we get Alan comment on the screen?" Okay. Alan says, "I feel as an athlete, it's your responsibility to take care of your mental health and seek help if needed, because you feel and can't expect others to read your mind or your energy." So, Sandra, how do you feel about that, what he just said? Because you just spoke about that.
I agree. Nobody knows what you're going through but you. And you have to have confidence, to confide in someone else so that they can help you through the process. So if you don't speak up, then, you can't get help. So I totally agree. And I feel that, if someone is going through something, that they should find, confidence to talk to someone.
Missy Melissa, how do you feel about that?
I agree 100%. But my thing is, growing up, I know for me, when you came across somebody that had a mental illness, that was like a elephant in the room. Nobody talked about it. Nobody discussed it. So it was like a family secret. And and kids can be so harsh, and not knowing that, this is something serious. So now they want to say, oh, she's crazy, or he's crazy, or his mama crazy, So those things, that's why I think it's the reason, like, a lot of people don't discuss it. They shun away from it because they saw it, or somebody in their family or somebody that they know had that mental illness, and they were kind of kept it a secret. They kind of kept it a secret because that wasn't a good light for them, per se.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then a lot of people are, feel like they're ashamed of it. They're ashamed, that they're going through this, or they have a family member going through this, when in actuality it's nothing to be ashamed about, because there's so much information out there and so much help out there that you would want to seek that help.
Mm-hmm. So true.
That's definitely. I tell you, and I look at it from a spiritual standpoint. Look at the man that was running around in the tomb cutting himself. That's a mental illness. Because basically what happened with him, he was possessed, and we don't realize, being spiritual beings, we come into contact with so many different things, and so many things plays a part in our mental makeup. And as an athlete, you learn. And I'm thankful that, University of Miami, with Coach Johnson, even when our Erickson got there, we prayed before every game. We stayed the Lord's Prayer. We had our service, or they encouraged us, on the weekend, even on the off season, if you're a believer, find yourself a local church to attend.
Okay, I think we lost him again, guys. Please do bear with us as they're traveling, guys, to their next destination. They wear so many different hats. But Sissy said, hearing what you said and what your nephew just said, it just puts me in a state of mind, because not just you have to take care of your mental health and seek help if needed, right? They have to know that the help is there. You know, do you think that the organizations is letting the kids know that this help is there? And then Bishop said too, like sometimes, people are afraid because of what other people can say, because kids
Yeah,
can be some most of the
yeah.
cool people. They don't care what they say out their mouth. So what do you think about that, man? Because that's deep. That's deep.
That's what I was going to say. I think they do share that information with the with the team, and let them know that if they are going through something, that there is help out there. But like Bishop Barry said, sometimes they may not feel comfortable enough going to speak to someone in fear of what their teammates might say, or in fear of what other people may say about them, or think about them. So I think sometimes that's why they may not tend to go out and get help. And then they may feel like they don't have the, enough confidence to go and speak to somebody, whether it's a professional person or not, because they may feel like, oh, okay, I got a problem. Now they're going to think that I'm crazy, or, that I have a problem. So that could be another reason why, they are so, not so quick to go and seek help.
And then too, not only that, that was good what someone just wrote. Most of the time people can't afford the help, so
Mm-hmm.
they just basically try and deal with it, but also, like Melissa said too, I see Melissa said back in the days, that was, like that. I don't want to be labeled as that, because, sometimes, like now, it's so many. I mean, they just throw a label on you, like real quick. If
Mm-hmm.
you act out any type of way, or whatever, they just throw this label on you, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what happens if that family need the help but can't get the help because you can't afford it?
I mean, maybe Bishop can talk on it, but I would feel like that's where a spiritual advisor would come in, a pastor. I feel you don't have to be a member of a church. You should be able to go to a pastor and say, okay, I'm going through something. I need to talk to you, or can you help me?
Right. That's good. Bishop, what you say to that? That we was talking about, the families needing the help and not being able to afford the help.
Um, I mean, there are agencies now. I know that we have Healthier Glaze here. Um, we actually created a place where people can come in and actually, communicate. But through the ministry, that is a ministry where that you help individuals to cope with different things, in their families, whether they're part of the ministry or not. I know I get quite a few people that will come to talk to me. A lot of them don't even talk to their own pastor, but they'll come and talk to me and share with me, and I just try to encourage them and just give them the word of God, and that they can actually, begin to, work those maladies out. And that's why we know on Thursday night we do the couples ministry, for the simple fact is that, hey, we know that, people are struggling in marriages, went through this pandemic and everybody was closed in. And I mean, the marriage, the divorce rate skyrocketed, during the pandemic, because people wasn't used to spending that much time with each other. And so therefore it caused a lot of issues in the family, in the household. So, but I have to get into this meeting right now. I
Okay.
wish I had a little more time, and hopefully the next time we'll be able to talk a little further. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Bishop. Thank you. So, Sissy Melissa, what do you think about that? A family in need of the help but can't get the help, and then we're gonna jump right into Rose comment here. Okay,
Well,
while
I
we
know, as Bishop was stating, um, about the different programs now that are available for, to assist with the mental health issues. And even if, there's the 211, the information line that, people can access to, seek help. So there's different avenues that people can take these days to assist with, any issue, any mental issue that they may be experiencing, or if they know somebody that may be experiencing it, they can help, seek help for them.
And Desmond says, as a person, it's your responsibility to seek whatever help is needed, because you will be the one that things are because you will be the one to know that you are in need of help, which, him and Alan touching on the same topic. That is so true, bro. That is so true. But sometimes what happens, that's a good point. What happens if the person is in denial, Sissy said, say it's a child and the mother sees it, right? We're mothers. It's a child and the mother see it. But the mother is like, nothing's wrong with my child. No, what happens? How can I say this? What happens when you're in denial, but somebody on the out, there we go. Thank you, Holy Ghost. If somebody on the outside can see it and they're telling you to take that child to get some help, but here it is, you don't want, say, okay, no, nothing's wrong with my child. We're just going ahead and we'll pray it on out. We'll say that as well. But what happens if you don't know, or you just in denial and just brush it on off? And then later on down the line, you find that child to be very rebellious and doing things out of the norm. And you say, oh, I should have got my kid some help then. How do you feel about that?
That's kind of tough, because it's kind of hard to convince a parent. It's kind of hard to convince a parent if they're in denial, and especially if it's about their child, because sometimes parents aren't receptive to hearing things from other people about their child. But that's a tough one. I would continue to just pray for the parent, that the parent finds it within themselves to see that there is a problem, and try to get help for the child. But it's hard when they're in denial to convince them otherwise.
And especially us mothers, because don't mess with our babies. We say, but sometimes, in life, I don't think people understand, like, God had give people certain gifts, right? And people can see stuff on you or on others, period. And sometimes you're I won't say you're not afraid to use the gift, but you have to make sure you be prayerful before you deliver what you're about to say to the person, because you want the person to be receptive of what you're saying, right? However, if, say for instance, right, you have the situation, and here it is, your past, people are holding you to your past, right? But now you became this new creature in Christ. Now you know God, you're doing the things of God, you're praying, you're seeking God and all this and that, right? But here it is, God gave you this gift to see something in somebody else. Good God Almighty. And you relay the message. And the person is just not, accepting it at all. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then may end up kind of being a little, not just upset with you, but could say some harsh things to you. How would you take that? Now, it's coming from God. You're making sure you're praying first before you deliver that message, because you want to make sure that the person's going to receive it. However, what happens when they don't?
I just smile about it and just know that I did what God told me to do. It's the only thing you can do.
That's it. That's it. But
yeah.
Hey, but truth be told, sometimes our little flesh can rise up too now.
Yeah.
Even though you're in the midst of doing a good thing, come on, keep it real now. Something.
Yeah, it does. It does. So that's why before you deliver that message or deliver whatever it is God told you to deliver, you pray before you
Yeah.
deliver it. So
Right.
whatever comes up against you, it'll just be seized, and it'll just rub off. It won't affect you.
Okay. All right now, but what if come on, sissy, we got to keep it real. We
I'm
know that
keeping it real.
pray.
Come on.
Well, I'll tell you, we got to pray, right? But
Right.
that if the person say something that you don't prayed about that thing, and even though we pray about some things, our flesh still rise.
Mm-hmm.
What if they hit the little bill and say something out the way, and boy, before you know it, that flesh be done rose up because
Mm-hmm.
it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen. Us mothers, and especially if they're sharing something about your child. If they're
Mm-hmm.
trying, there we go. If you're telling them something what God gave you, right, and then
Mm-hmm.
they reverse it back onto you, but give it to you like like hit with a little bit. How would you handle that? Because I'm telling you, you got to pray right. I pray right there and there, but yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but me keeping it real, my response probably won't be godly, but I try.
Yeah, we all do.
I try. All I can do is try.
We all do. We all do. But there will be times though when we do approach one, because
Mm-hmm.
if it's coming from God, God is going to make sure that the person is receptive of it. And it's not what we do. I mean, it's not what the person do, it's what we do. God may
Mm-hmm.
be looking for a response. He may have set us up,
Mm-hmm.
to speak to that person to see how we respond. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why you got to be very, very careful too with that. So,
Mm-hmm.
Sissy Melissa, we was just talking about you delivering something that God gave you to give a parent about their child, the gifts, God loan us. And what if the person is not receptive of it, and basically they attack you for giving them that message? Because as a mother, you don't want to child.
Exactly. I think my approach would be, first and foremost, I would tell them, look, now this is not coming from me, so don't take offense to it as, I'm telling you this, because I'm not. This is coming directly from God. I don't know. I have no clue about, what's going on. And so I'm the messenger.
Right.
And, and just leave it like that, deliver the message. And then, you know, and really not take offense to, whether they receive it or not, just praying that they don't get out of line, that they just say, okay, and, leave it like that. Because the word tells you that sweet water and bitter water can't come out the same fountain, so I don't want no bitter water coming out after I be delivered a word to them. So, I would just tell them, and and then at the end, if they don't want to, receive it, just say, what, just take this up with God.
Right.
It's not coming from me. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a messenger.
That's it.
So, they have to take it up with God. Like, God, okay, it's on you. I did what you asked me to do, and I'm out of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, we have a
And then,
comment
and
here.
then sometimes, especially if a person is,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
then, me, I know I'll be like, God, you sure you want me to tell her that? Why you want me to tell her? Why you can't just tell her, yourself like you telling me? So, I'll be questioning it, but, he can be very forceful and tell, no, you do it. And, me, I can be selfish and say, well, God, how she gonna respond. She gonna take this kindly, but at the end of the day, obedience.
What would you say? We'll be battling. How we go to God. Like, for real, God, you want me to say that? Like, for real? How you feel about it?
I agree. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cool. Okay, so Deshauna Ashani says, so true. Auntie Sandra was the first person to tell me to have my son checked for autism. It took me a few months. I was in denial, but I did listen. Amen for a listening ear. That's good. That is good. Because right there is just what we spoke about, being in denial when one delivers a message. So praise God that you did listen and you were attentive what your aunt told you to do and got the necessary help that was needed. And you also said sometimes with insurance, not all is covered or is limited times one is able to attend. So if you're having a mental issue, that is good right there, because I didn't know that they limit the amount of times that you can go to seek help. So Sissy Melissa, hearing that she said sometimes with insurance, not all is covered or is limited, is a limited times that you can go. So if this family, let's go another route. Let's move it up to college, because Latrice spoke about it on here before. She said now that they're offering kids, I believe, I don't know now, I maybe not, don't quote me verbatim, but I know she said that they're offering the help now for college athletes. So when our kids was at the University of Miami, did you think that these services was offered then, Sissy Sand?
I don't know if they were. If they were, I wasn't aware of it. I'm not sure. I don't know if Denzel is on the line. Maybe he can type in and say yes it was or no it wasn't. But I can't recall.
Yeah, neither can I. How about you, sis, Melissa?
No, I'm not aware of it either. And like Sissy Sandra said, if it was available, I didn't know. Maybe Damien knew,
Will
but I
that be
didn't.
all?
Yes.
Okay. So hearing that, right, in the earlier part of the conversation I mentioned in the earlier part of the show, it was saying like 34.6% of patients showed a disorder before the age of 14. So 14, what grade are the kids in middle school, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
In middle school. So it says 34.6%. And then it says 48.4% by the age of 18. And then 62.5% by the age of 25. So let's start with that 14, which is in middle school. Now, knowing that you're coming now, oh, Alan said yes, they did have, he said yes, we had someone. Awesome. So shouts out to University of Miami. Woo, woo. Okay, so here in the age of 14, you're going into middle school. Now you're finding yourself, right? And are just beginning to find yourself. Um, and they're saying this. So Bishop spoke about I can't remember, one of us spoke about a child, or Bishop spoke about a child being in the home, a 2-year-old child being in the home. Hearing all the bickering, arguing, fussing, and fighting from mom and dad. Dad had mental health issues. Um, Now this child is acting out. What would you ladies say, or what words of encouragement, if you were to come in contact with this parent, the wife now, not the young man, but with the wife, what words of encouragement as a mother would you give to her about her child? Sissy Sam.
Um, hmm, it's kind of tough because, like we said before, sometimes parents aren't receptive to hearing things, when it comes down to to their children or their child. So, my advice would be, I would pray for them.
Yeah.
I'll just pray with the parent, and then hopefully they'll try to seek some kind of help, and don't be in denial, because it's tough, because me being an educator working in a high school, I see it every day. And I don't think that a video is the cure to introducing kids to or trying to help people with mental health issues. I think that it should be a course taught in schools to help with these situations, because when it comes down to that, the first thing they do is Baker Act, and that's it. And I don't think that that's the solution, because after the Baker Act is over, you still have the issue. The issue was never addressed. So I feel that they need to see a physical live person to to help them through the process, and not just put them in the process of a paper trail, or just put them in the system. I think that it needs to be addressed. And then on the flip side is that you will have a parent that say, well, why are you doing this for my child? My child doesn't have a problem. But then later on down the road, like you said, you see it. So I think it's just a big issue that really needs to be addressed. But it's up to, like, my nephew and my husband said, it's up to the person to go get help, or to talk to someone about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's good. Everything that you said right there is definitely good, because again, you know, you just don't know how a person would receive it. And the number one thing, and I know people may we pray. We're some praying women.
Yeah.
We're some praying women, and we believe in our God.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely going to be something that you would hear here, or it had to happen a lot about prayer. So, Sissy Melissa, what would you say to that?
Um, I would definitely say, the approach would be pray first before, approaching I would pray first before approaching the mother. That God would just soften her heart. So when I did, come to her to discuss the issue with her, that she would be more receptive to it. And and I'm kind of dealing with that right now you know at my school, with just seeing kids with issues that at the age of 2, milestones that they should have accomplished, they're far behind. So it's really, I would say, not the same, but somewhat the same. And so a lot of it is, I refer them to some services, and I tell them to take a look at it. And because it may, I think that it'll help the child in the long run, at the age they are now, before they get to that 14-year-old mark and have not yet dealt with it. So I think that's a start for them. But definitely pray, because like Sissy said, definitely there are parents out there that don't want to hear it. They're in denial. And even with the 2-year-old, when we speak about it to the parents, there's still some that are in denial then. But I think at this age, this is the best age to begin to try to get them the help that they need before, it gets, potentially could get worse.
Wow. And like I said, as a mother, talking to another mother in an instance where this young woman is, was being abused, and this child was in the home, and this guy not being able to control his actions due to his illness. A lot of times when we go and we talk to people, we talk at people, we don't talk with them.
Mm.
And sometimes we need to go to people and just listen Everything does not deserve a response, right? So we know that before we go and we approach the situation, God will tell us exactly what to do, right? But sometimes, like I said, people who need to be heard, they really don't want, they're talking to you not for your opinion, but just to be heard. You understand? So what would be your approach to this woman? And maybe she's sitting there and she's just releasing, just pouring out. And you also know that you have to be also careful what you allow in your spirit. So it's kind of like a double standard. So you listen to this woman talking to you, and maybe she's going on and on and on and on and on and on. How would you handle that? And once she's done, now at the end of the conversation, once she's done venting, how would you handle that after that? Because sometimes people be like, you have people out there that's like, oh, I won't take that. I'll be gone. I'll take my child and I'll be gone. But you have to be really, really careful when you embark on that type of territory. So how would you handle that, Sissy said?
I'm sorry. Oh wow. After listening, I don't know if I would give my opinion because during the conversation or prior to them venting to me, they never asked for my opinion. So I would just be
Good,
a listening ear,
good.
and then I would just tell them, thank you for sharing. I'll keep you in my prayers. Or I may offer my phone number and tell them if you need someone else to talk to, if you need to, continue to talk, give me a call.
Yeah.
And just leave it like that. Because like you say, sometimes a person just wants to, for a person to just hear what they're saying and not give their opinion. And then with that, I think that would build more confidence in the person, you know, to talk more about their situation. And then later on, you could probably give them refer them to somebody that can help them in a professional manner. You know?
Totally agree. So what do you say about that, Sister Melissa?
I totally agree with Sister Sandra, but I would also, after she's done, I would ask her if it was okay if I prayed for her right then, right then and there. So that would be the only other thing that I would do.
And being though that you both are dealing with kids and you're at work, and Sissy, you're with the older kids. Sister Sam is with the older kids, and Sister Melissa is with the younger kids, right? We're gonna jump right into. I didn't want to touch this topic, but we're gonna jump right into the young lady who just committed suicide, the cheerleader. I don't know if you if you ladies heard about her. She wrote a disturbing letter on Instagram, and basically she was stating that she tried several times. She talked, not tried, but talked about it several times, and I guess was unheard. She felt like she was everything to everybody else, but when was people was there for her. And the letter, I'm telling you, it was deep, it was heart wrenching, it was oh my God, like she was a cheerleader at I think Southern University or one of them universities, but she was a cheerleader and she committed suicide. She jumped into some water and drowned herself. So hearing that, and she said that she mentioned this before. What happens when you miss the signs? What do you say to that, Sandra? She said she had been mentioning it for a long time.
Wow. Um, uh, it's difficult. It's difficult because now you're in the place to say where did I go wrong or what did I do wrong. Um, I don't. I'm. This is my first time hearing about about the story, so I wasn't aware of it. I don't know any background about it, but um, who was she giving the signs to? You know,
Yeah,
um,
She said that, I believe she said that she was giving it to her peer, everyone who was around her. And when she wrote this letter, sissy, she addressed her mom. And you know, and again, she said that she was everything to everybody else, and but basically, she was. I'm talking about a beautiful young lady. So on the outside, her ray of sunshine. I mean, she was radiating with her beauty, but in the inside, she said she was drowning.
So she was sheltering it.
Mm.
She was sheltering it.
Mm-hmm. And how many times when we see people, like I said, you guys are in a school system, so you can kind of see the kids, and being though that you may see these kids and miss the signs. You miss the signs. Now she had been crying out, but you see not just these kids, you see people in life. Look at the young man who we showed last time when we talked about the mental health illness. And he said that for a long time, like he didn't want to talk about it. He was smiling on the outside, but dying in the inside, basically.
And see, that's the thing. When she was sharing it with her peers, was she giving them how she felt, or was she just making little statements? And then it's kind of tricky, because even if you make little statements, maybe her peers didn't take her seriously. That could be a problem. And maybe that's how they missed the sign, because maybe they just thought that she was just playing, or they didn't know, how to receive what she was just saying, and just like, oh, she just going through something, because that's what they say all the time. And them not knowing, I guess the seriousness of mental health, maybe them not knowing, they didn't know how to address it. Because as educators, when you hear someone say something just out the norm, or just say something, we have to be accountable for that. And, we have to report that. So it's like we're kind of being proactive. But, if you don't know, then you don't, I mean, you don't know. I don't mean to be harsh and say, but you don't know. That's why I said, I think that it needs to be taught in school. It needs to be taught, and not, okay, this is a video we're going to watch about mental health. No, we need to talk about mental health, not watch it. We need to talk about it. So it's difficult. It's difficult.
Ooh. Sissy Melissa, did you hear about the young lady?
Yes, I did. And but I didn't get a chance to read it all. I know she went to a HBC. Yeah. And I saw her picture, but I didn't get a chance to actually read the story. And that's so interesting, because just today, I mentor a couple of young ladies, quite a few young ladies, I mentor. And just today, one, she texted me, and she's going through a little situation, and she was like, I'm just ready to quit, so now, I'm in counselor mode now, and I'm trying, and I'm talking to her, trying to see, where she is, her mental state at this time. And, eventually she, kind of calmed down and began to tell me what was going on. And I was like, okay, well, let me get back with you. Give me a few minutes and I'm going to get back with you. So I kind of tried to help her get through what she was going through, but it took me a little longer, because I was, I'm at work, and I'm trying to juggle two things at the same time. And so eventually I got her the help that she needed, and I'm just getting home. So I'm going to, touch base with her again and see if, how she is. She did text me and say, thank you so much. So I did get a chance to speak with her after everything got, taken care of. So now that I'm just making it in, I'm going to text her again, and just to check and see, where she is right now, mentally. And once my husband gets done, I'm gonna go check on her. I'm gonna go down and see her.
You
So
know,
it's hard. It's hard.
and you see, that's good that you said that, because you said that your young lady had reached out to you. And I remember one time, a couple of years ago, a young lady reached out to me, and it had to be in 2 a.m., 3, I don't know, between 2 and 3. And I
Or you
met
want
her
to eat?
through
You want to
Instagram,
stay?
and she reached out to me and she called me, and she was talking about committing suicide, Sissy and both sissies. She was talking about committing suicide. And I'm talking about like really ready to do it. And I normally don't turn my phone. I never turn my phone off, to be honest with you, because my kids are always they're not with me. So anywho, she reached out to me and I answered the phone, and I'm hearing this young lady. She's in distress, and she's saying some of the things that this young lady was saying about she's everything to everybody else, and she just can't take it anymore. She don't want to do this, and I'm telling you, I just began to pray. I didn't know what. I just began to pray. And when I began to pray, as I was praying, you can hear the calmness in her. And once we got off the phone, I think it was the next, and she's waiting in Dallas, so there's no way to see I could, go by and check on her. You're local, but this young lady was waiting in Dallas, and I just couldn't, I know I try to interact with everybody on social media, and what if I would have missed that call? What if I would have missed that call? So think about the kids that she was telling, or, showing some signs to, that missed those signs. That's going to mess with them mentally now. Wouldn't you ladies agree? Like their friend is not gone. And this
Yeah,
letter stuff.
yeah, it is.
Yep, it truly is. Really is.
Jesus. See? And that's this thing here is, it's a very, very good topic, a much needed topic, because in the Black communities, we wasn't, we were taught whatever happens here stays here.
Mm-hmm.
Now with so many things, happening, you ladies are in the school system, seeing these schools, my God, kids come to school with guns, shooting up the schools and things like that, like at not knowing that one day my child leaves and go to school and not return. It's the biggest fear for any
Mm-hmm.
parent. So when that Parkland shooting happened on Valentine's Day, think about those parents. It wasn't just kids that lost their lives. It was educators and things like that too. So think about that parent having to wait to hours and hours and hours to learn that they will no longer see their child. By the grace of God, thank you, Jesus. We haven't lost any of ours, and I pray, God, that we don't. We don't. But if you were to be put in that setting, what would be your words to that parent, that mother? We're going to talk about mothers, coming from a mother to another mother. What would be your words to that mother while she's sitting there waiting to see what's happening with her child?
Hmm. I'll be at a loss for words. I'm just being honest. I don't know if I can hold it together. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm being honest, because you you don't know what to expect. You don't know. You don't know, and then what what happens, or what could you say, or how would you feel if their child didn't make it but yours did?
Ooh, That's good.
So I wouldn't even know what to say. I'm just being totally honest. I'll just say, you know, we just got to pray, and that's it. Because there's nothing else you could say, nothing more you could say.
What you say to that, Melissa?
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree because I'm a crybaby when it
I
comes
think
to
we all are.
things like that. So I would probably be crying harder than the mother. So hey. So yeah, I think I would just be there just to sit, and if she wanted to talk, I'll be there to listen. But outside of that, you can listen. Outside of that, I wouldn't um I wouldn't have too many words to say.
You know, the reason why I asked that question because um that kind of sort of, not at the time, but after the incident had happened, I always wanted to know, and I never had this conversation with Alan because Alan chose to wear 17 at the Dallas Cowboys to represent those families, right? And he actually went and sat and talked with some of the victims that made it, as well of two of the parents whose kids did not make it. But to go back to their home and to be taken into their rooms where the kids I get you, where the kids once were, and the parents is talking to him about the day of. You have to be in a good place mentally to be able to do something like that. Because again, like we know, Melissa said it, crybaby one, crybaby two, crybaby three, you know. But you definitely have to be in a good place mentally to be able to do something like that. And I remember going to, ooh, I remember going to, I don't know if it was the first year or the second year where they did the tributes to the ones who lost their life. You can feel like I don't know, like the I don't know. It was just like this. I can't even describe the feeling, but to see all those people out there hurting the way that they were, and I was with one of the mothers who lost her child. She was 14 years old, and she was one of the first ones to get shot. And the guy actually left the classroom and came back and shot her some more. And she was only 14 years old. But to see all those people out there, I have to say that did something to me as a mother. It did something to me. And I can say that's where I found my therapist, at one of those events. I found my therapist. So would you say to a parent, because I know we're over time, I'm sorry. Last question. Would you say or encourage someone to seek spiritually help? I know you ladies will, but to seek a therapist as well.
I would say both. I would say both, and then I will also tell them, you know, once they're comfortable and can talk about the situation, go out and mentor about their experience and share their experience. Maybe that their story that they're sharing, the person may not be going through what they went through, but they could be going through a secret mental breakdown. So their story could actually help save somebody else.
That's good that you said that because, again, we spoke about the young lady, the 18-year-old lady who was looking good on the outside but was dying in the inside. So I really feel God set me in that setting to save me. Not saying that by any means, y'all, I love me. I'm not going to kill myself or even thought about, committing suicide. but he set me in that setting to find someone to help me outside of him. Because again, I knew God, but I didn't know him how I know him now. So I found my therapist in that setting. So, Sister Melissa, what would you say about that? We may have lost her. Okay, so talking about and dealing with mental health can be tough, guys. However, athletes are natural leaders and courageous self-starters and can be the key we need to tackle the challenges and stigma around mental health. If we work together to bring mental health into our regular conversation, we can open the door to create real change in the way we think and talk about mental health. Guys, we're here live today with the girl Erica Wilson at It Had to Happen for Take 5 of NFL Moms and Families speaking on mental health. And I had the honor of sitting with my beautiful sisters, Melissa Berry and Sandra Perryman, and my big bro, Bishop Kenny Berry. We will be touching on this topic once again because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. Last comment, I would say whatever works for them, whatever helps them cope. That's good, bro. Shouts out to you. Thank you all for tuning in with us here at It Had to Happen. Sissy, is there anything that you would like to leave with our audience on today?
Stay on Faith Street and keep the faith.
That's it. Sissy Melissa? With the grandkids. All right. So with that being said, guys, it's okay to not to be okay. Do know that. But definitely seek the help that you may need if you know that you need it. Also, be there for one another. Love on one another because you never know what battle someone is fighting. Like the young lady, she was beautiful on the inside, made everything seem like everything was okay, but she was dying in the inside. So don't be the one to miss the signs, people. Thank you so much for tuning in here with us at It Had to Happen. We won't be back before you guys next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, we will be with you all. However, do book now for our prayer broadcast on Mondays at 5:30. Meet us back here. We've been on the topic, Sissy said and Melissa, they said versus what God said. You know, sometimes you have to listen to all the time you got to listen to what God said and not really worry about what they said, because sometimes what they said could get you thrown right off track. But you know that God will never leave us nor forsake us, and he will never lie, and his word will never turn back to him void. So be blessed. God bless you all. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Erica's Empowering Empire. 88 Blessings Soar Movement. It had to happen in a beauty so rare. We'd love for you to join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, It Had to Happen with Erica Wilson. Following our social media.